Welcome, everyone, to the fifth episode of the Locked In Sports Podcast. Me and Jordan, we're going to predict the games this week, high school and college, of course. Jordan, how you doing?
Still under the weather, feeling a little bit better, but still sick. So hopefully I'll feel better tomorrow.
Well, 2 nights in a row of being on the podcast, being sick, that's a dedicated man.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to come out and open the show with some interesting fact about Cam Ward, the quarterback for the Titans. The Titans are god-awful this year.
Yeah.
He is the first NFL quarterback to throw an interception that resulted in a touchdown for his own team. So that's pretty funny. That's hard to do if you're a quarterback, throw a pick that results in a touchdown. But
yeah,
congratulations to Cam Ward.
Hey, they got their first win the other day too.
They did. They picked up the first win. But enough of NFL football. We'll go to high school. First matchup we're going to predict is Johnson with a record of 0-6. He's playing Lumpkin. Lumpkin, this is a home game with a record of 4-2. We kind of saw last week where Dawson went to Johnson and took care of business against that mighty Johnson team, that football team. Normally, these types of teams that go 0-6 like this, they win one big game every year, and that's it. And that one big game is their Super Bowl. If they win, they're on the mountaintop. So the Lumpkin County Indians have to stay focused, and they have to stay locked, like we said last week. And they have to take care of business against this Johnson team. They are currently sitting in third place in the region, so they can't afford to slip up and lose any games. The Indians should have no problem with this game at all, but we've got in trouble for saying that before. Like we said last week in Fannin County, they should have won that game and had no problems, but they lost that game.
Yep.
Jordan, what's your prediction this Friday night for Lumpkin and Johnson?
I think Lumpkin's going to handle business. That Johnson team, like you said, they are not a football school. They're more a soccer school.
Right.
But like you said, Lumpkin can't look past Johnson because you never know what could happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Lumpkin's going to handle business 48-0.
48-0. Well, I'm going to give Johnson the benefit of the doubt. I saw they score 7 points. I saw they get in the end zone one time towards the end of the game, but I think Lumpkin, their offense is very good. I think they dropped 56-7 Lumpkin this Friday in Dahlonega.
Yeah.
The next matchup we're going to predict is Dawson County with a record of 2-4. Goes to White County, whose record is 0-6. This definitely should be a win for Dawson County, but this White County team is a little bit better than that Johnson team that they faced last week. So this White County team, they did compete with Lumpkin for 2 quarters a couple weeks ago down there in Dahlonega, or up there in Dahlonega, I should say. But Dawson cannot let them stick around in this game. They cannot make any simple mistakes or big mistakes, and they got to take care of business early. White County don't have much of a running game at all, so they look to pass the ball before they would run the ball on every snap. My prediction for the Dawson-White County game is Dawson. It might be close for 1 quarter, but I think Dawson wins 35-7. I don't think White County's got the offense to keep up with Dawson County.
Yeah.
Jordan,
White County was surprising that they competed with Lumpkin a couple of weeks ago. I was really shocked to see that they were tied at halftime, but Lumpkin pulled away. I think it may be closer though. I think it's going to be 28-14. Dawson.
Okay, that's doable too.
Yeah,
especially being at White County.
Mm-hmm.
Especially being at White County, that could play a little bit of a factor. But White County seemed to play better on the road than they've played at home. But
true.
We'll see how that plays out this Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Next matchup is Chestatee with a record of 3-3. Goes to Jasper to take on the 5-1 Dragons, coming off that loss to the North Hall Trojans. If you're Pickens, this is a must-win game as far as the playoff indications go. Chestatee did match up against Lumpkin earlier in the year and got blown out. I think it was like 42-7, something like that. Chestatee's record, that it might be 3-3, but they've had a tough region schedule early in the year, unlike others that have had an easy region schedule early in the year and it gets tough late. Chestatee's had a tough region early and had to play some good region teams early. So I think they're a little bit better than a 3-3 record for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how they compete with Pickens this Friday.
Mhm.
This is kind of one of those games where you're thinking, yeah, Pickens should go out and dominate, especially coming off a bye week, and uh, from start to finish, they should control this football game. But a few
Yeah.
mistakes here and there, and I think Chesapeake can hang around to the end.
Mhm.
And Pickens has got to come out early, just like we said in any football game. Really, Pickens has to come out early and control this game.
Yeah.
But I think they do that, and I think they have a good bounce back after dropping that game to North Hall. And I think the Dragons win 42-10 over Chesapeake Friday night in Jasper. Jordan, what do you got?
Yeah, it'd be huge if they can come off that bye week, after a rough loss and really just, show out and dominate. Um, but I don't think that they will. I think just to probably hang around with them. I'm thinking it's going to be 35-21 Pickens.
Okay.
So I think Pickens is going to let them score, but Pickens is finally going to get their offense going again. So
Yeah, I could very well see that happening too. Fannin and Union, they are on bye weeks this week. The Rebels have really got a lot of work to do. It might be a bye week, but they got a lot of work to do if they're wanting to win a region championship and have a run in the state playoffs. They got to clean up a lot of stuff, penalties wise, and become more disciplined and mesh together. It don't seem like this Rebels team is really meshed like the past years with each other. Um, Union is coming off that hard fought loss to Ringgold, as they will look to maybe get a couple more wins here and there before the end of the year and get some momentum going into that offseason
mhm,
for the Panthers, which will be big. Um,
yeah.
Jordan, anything for about Fannin and Union that you got?
Yeah, Fannin, this year's team compared to the last couple of years, they really struggle with penalties.
They
Penalties
do.
are killing them. They can't even sustain a drive without getting a penalty that just sets them back.
That don't seem like a Coach Cheatham team.
No, that's what I was about to say. This is not really a team that looks like Coach Cheatham's at the helm.
Right,
They've had the last couple of weeks, they haven't looked bad, but then, the weeks they do look bad, they look really bad.
right.
So they got to use this bye week to get back on track, or it's going to be rough sledding for the rest of the year. Um, as for Union, I think like what you said, try to get some wins going into next year. Where you have some momentum for next year. You have a young quarterback getting to play this year due to an injury. Uh,
Yeah,
get him a bunch of reps and get him some confidence going into next year. So
yeah. And um, I don't want to speak too soon, but we might see Ken Holloway come back after the bye week for the Rebels, hopefully.
yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if he's at quarterback or wide receiver. It'll be interesting to see where he's at.
It will be interesting to see. But one thing I will say about Mr. Ken Holloway is he's important for basketball season for the Rebels, so
He is.
got to keep that kid healthy.
Yep.
That'll bring us to our game of the week at the high school level. Lafayette, with a record of 4-3, goes to Ellijay, Georgia, to take on the Gilmer County Bobcats with a record of 3-3. This is another. I feel like we say this every week, but this is another big game for the Bobcats if they want to make the state playoffs. Both of these teams are kind of on that outside looking in to get into the state playoffs. Whoever loses this game will most likely have no chance at making the state playoffs. So this is a must-win game for the Bobcats if they want to make the state playoffs game, which I think they're very capable of doing. Um, Gilmer, they got to get their run game going. They got to control the pace of the game and the time of possession,
Mm.
like they do in every game. And they can't. Lafayette hasn't played anyone good in the region besides Northwest Whitfield, and they got beat 40-7. So their record might be 4-2, but I don't think they're as good as the record states they are.
Yeah.
They don't really have much of a passing game. They're a run-first football team. Hopefully, the Bobcats are able to make some adjustments after last week, after giving up all those yards on the ground to the Generals, and stop that run game of Lafayette, which I don't think the Lafayette run game is near as good as the Heritage run game is. But if you let a team rush for over almost 300 yards on you, you ain't got to be very good to run the ball on them. But my key player for this game is number 19, Riley Duggan. I think that's how you say his last name. He's an outside backer for the Bobcats. He's averaging 3 solo tackles a game. Him and Bubba Callahan, that whole defensive front are going to have to be huge if the Bobcats want to win this football game in a honorable fashion, if you'll say. They got to control the line of scrimmage all night. Gilmer did dominate this game last year, but I think Lafayette was kind of younger last year and not near as good. But this final score last year was 42-7, and so it'll be interesting to see. My prediction is Gilmer gets that triple option rolling, and Lafayette don't have no answer for it. I got Gilmer winning 35-14, but I think this game is 21-14, maybe even 14-14 at half. I think just the offense of Gilmer wears down that Lafayette line and that Lafayette front, and then boys get tired, and Gilmer eventually gets the lead on them.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I can see that happening, or I can see it being a close game. But like you said, Gilmer's got to control the pace and the tempo. They're going to have to just really get that run game going and control the time possession. But I think Gilmer should be able to handle business. I think it's going to be 42-7 like it was last year. I think they're just going to dominate this year.
Good. That's good to hear. Go Bobcats this Friday night.
Yeah.
Should be an interesting week of high school football. Lumpkin should dominate Johnson. Dawson got to take care of business against White County. Pickens County got to take care of business against Chestatee. Fannin and Union both on bye weeks, and our game of the week was Gilmer and Lafayette. We just covered that. And the Bobcats, hopefully they play to their potential and take care of business. Let's get into college football.
Yeah. All right. Our first game that we're going to cover is number 8, Alabama, going on the road to face number 14, Missouri, who's 5-0 to start the year.
Yeah.
Missouri hasn't really played anybody yet. Their hardest game was probably South Carolina, who's not that great this year and only beat them 29-20. Then we beat Kansas 42-31. So it'll be interesting to see how Missouri does against some better competition. Missouri they have a top 4 offense and top 4 defense, but like I said, they haven't really played anybody yet. Alabama coming off that win against Vanderbilt last week. They're not looking to drop another game either. So this should be a really good game to see if Alabama can stop the run and if Missouri's defense is legit and can stop a red hot Ty Simpson.
Red hot.
Yeah, red hot. But with that being said, I think Alabama's going to handle business. I think the score is going to be 34-17 Bama. And I think they're going to keep rolling. What about you, Landon? What do you think?
This game, I picked Alabama to win, but like you said, Missouri hadn't played anybody yet. So that could be one or two things. That could mean they're good and they're healthy. They ain't had to stress and get hit every week. While Alabama, on the other hand, they've played Georgia and Vandy. It's like that sounds so weird saying Vandy, but they played Georgia and Vandy, and both those teams are very physical. And I hope the Tide are not beat up and a little bit banged up a little bit. But I think just because of that, it might be a competitive football game for 3 quarters. But I've got Alabama winning 24-17 over Missouri at Missouri.
I can see it being close because they have such a good run game. But I think if Alabama can shut the run game down, I don't think they have the playmakers out wide that some of these other teams that Bama has played against have. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully my Crimson Tide will prevail on the road.
Hopefully we
don't slip up like we did last year a couple times.
Yep.
But we'll see. That game's at 12 o'clock, so that's a noon game.
Spend my dollar.
The next game, we're not really going to get into it much because Ole Miss should dominate. It's number 4 Ole Miss at home against Washington State. That should be a blowout. Shouldn't even be close. I have Ole Miss winning 52-13.
I agree. Yeah, it's a blowout for sure. I'm not even going to say much about it. Ole Miss wins 45-7, 45-12.
Yeah, something like that. I don't think it's going to be close at all.
Yeah.
Now, these next couple games that we're about to talk about all had potential to be game of the week. So there's a lot of good games this week in the SEC. But the next game we're going to talk about is the Red River rivalry. between number 6 ranked Oklahoma, who's 5-0, and gets their quarterback back this week.
Oh, he does come back this week.
He's back this week.
I might go change my pick.
Against the 3-2 Texas Longhorns coming off a loss against Florida. That game's at 3:30. Oklahoma's only favored by 1.5 right now, which is kind of surprising to me.
Boomer!
Yeah. Their defense, Oklahoma's defense is legit. And then that offense, you get the quarterback, John Mateer, back. And the way that Texas has been looking, especially the way Arch has been looking, I think Oklahoma, if Mateer is healthy, I think Oklahoma handles business. But I can see it being close. With that being said, I think it's going to be high scoring. This rivalry game always is. So I'm going to go Oklahoma winning 34 to Texas 31. What about you, Landon? Who'd you pick in this one?
I did pick Texas, but I did not research that their quarterback is coming back.
Yeah, they just released the availability report this week or tonight, and they said if he was questionable, he's more than likely going to play. But if he was on there as like doubtful, he wasn't going to play. But he was questionable, so more than likely
he's probably going to play.
Yeah.
Well, that is the huge deciding factor in my pick.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the backup for Oklahoma is just as good as Arch Manning. I mean,
yeah. The way Arch has looked, I think so
too. But I think Oklahoma does now that their quarterback's back. I did pick Texas in a low-scoring game in our little college football pick 'em, but I'm gonna switch it up on here. I'm gonna go like you said, a high-scoring game with Oklahoma's quarterback back, and I'm gonna say it's 42-41, 1-point game.
I can see that happening as well.
Yeah,
I can see that happening. Should be a good game. That game's at 3:30, so we'll be tuning into that one Saturday.
For sure.
Should be a good game, though. The next game we got is Arkansas with a record of 2-3 with a new coach this week, Bobby Petrino, going on the road to number 12 Tennessee, who's 4-1. Tennessee's looking to get revenge. Arkansas whooped them last year.
They did,
but I don't know how this will be with Arkansas new coaches on the road at Neyland. It's not a night game, but by the end of it, it's going to be dark, and that place is going to be electric. It's hard to win at Neyland Stadium. Tennessee's offense has been on fire, and I think they're going to stay on fire. I don't think that Arkansas defense has enough firepower to slow them down. So I think Tennessee's going to win 38-10 over the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Well, old Pig Suey, they're almost as bad as Kentucky. They ain't as bad, but they're getting close.
Yeah.
At least they've took a right step and fired their darn coach. But I've got Tennessee rolling over the Razorbacks and Pig Suey. I think Aguilar has a big game. I think it's 49-14.
Yeah, I can see it being 49-14 as well. It's just a blowout.
Yep.
And it wouldn't surprise me too if it was close, just because new coach. Sometimes they get a new coach and they're like, they just play their best game of the year.
We saw it last week with old Nico.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that game goes. This next game made a strong push for game of the week. It's the Florida Gators with a record of 2-3 on the road at Texas A&M, who's ranked number 5 in the nation, undefeated 5-0. And this is going to be a night game. So 12th man's going to be rocking Saturday.
Rocking.
Texas A&M just beat a good Mississippi State team, but Florida just had a huge win at home against the number 9th ranked Longhorns at the time. Now Texas isn't ranked now.
Let's mention that. I think that might be one of the I don't know really the word, like the farthest drops in the AP polls in a long time.
That and Penn State. Penn State was preseason number. So Texas and Penn State were preseason number 1 and number 2 in the AP poll, and they're both unranked right now.
So Penn State dropped out of the rankings too?
They dropped out completely as well.
From number 7? They were number 7, right?
Yes, and they dropped out completely.
Wow.
so did Texas.
Wow, that's
So
pretty crazy.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. Florida, they're gonna be riding high. Um, and I could see this game being a really competitive game all the way up to the end. But I think being at Texas A&M night game, I think Texas A&M is going to end up winning. But it's going to be close. I think it's going to be 27-24 with the game-winning field goal for A&M.
Game-winning field goal.
Yep.
How about that? That's pretty intense.
Yeah, it'll be a good game.
Well, I've got the Florida Gators, old Billy Napier. I think he's got these boys fired back up, and like we said yesterday, Florida's definitely got the talent to be legit.
Yeah.
Now, I think they might have had some locker room issues early, and I think they might have figured that stuff out a little bit. They played a powerhouse Miami team earlier in the year, so I think I'm going to go with the Florida Gators over the Aggies of Texas A&M.
Yeah.
In the home of the 12th man, not game. I mean, I think Florida wins, and I think the score is going to be. Help me here, Jordan.
You think it's going to be close, or?
It's definitely going to be close.
Yeah, you think it's going to be high scoring, though, or you think it's going to be like 17-13 or something like that, or 20-13, something like that?
I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking. 2013.
2013 Florida.
No, 20-20 overtime.
Oh, and you have Florida ended up winning in overtime?
Florida wins in overtime. 20-20 into regulation.
What about the score?
Can I predict a tie?
You can't tie in college football.
I got Florida winning. Let's see here. They score the first time, so that makes it 27-27. And then if they score the next time, they got to go for 2, right?
You have to go for 2 the next time, yeah.
I think the final score is 30. What's that make it?
So that would be 3.
35?
Yeah.
Yeah, 27-35. Yeah, 35.
35-27 Florida.
Caden Twiggs, if you're listening to this, we're not math geniuses.
Nope.
But yeah, that's my final score.
I could see that happening. But I feel like Florida, Billy Napier always has this one signature win a year.
They do.
And then they just go back to being the same old Florida that they've looked like with him. Or
they do.
Awful.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit as far as the coaches go. Jordan, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Name me 3 coaches, okay? 3 coaches that have been good, not just good. Let's rephrase that. Elite. Like elite, good coaches that have been great before the NIL and after the NIL. Can you name me 3?
Kirby Smart.
Yes.
Is one of them. I'm trying to think, long. It takes some, thinking. Because a lot of these coaches are new.
And they're losing.
I was gonna say Dan Lanning at Oregon's done a pretty good job.
He has.
With the NIL. But being at Oregon, it's easy because you have so much money coming in from Nike.
Yep.
He's done a really good job with Oregon. Steve Sarkisian, I know Texas is having a down year, but they've been Final Four the last 2 years.
Yeah. But other than what I'm getting at here is it's hard to think of who has been a good coach before the NIL and after the NIL.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm saying. Like, dude, it's time. A lot of these schools, let's look at Vanderbilt, for instance, okay? Yeah. You don't have to be right, but what was Vandy's record 2 years ago? 2 years ago.
I believe they were 1-9 or something like that. Not good.
Terrible. I mean, they made a change. They went and got a young dude that was fired up.
Barkley.
Yeah. I mean, and look at them now. They're going to compete in the college football playoff. I mean,
Landon, do me this. So right now, name me your top 5 head coaches that are on the hot seat right now to be fired.
Okay. Billy Napier.
1.
Mark Stoops. What's the Penn State guy's name?
James Franklin.
James Franklin,
Hmm.
Dabo Slaney,
Yeah.
and I feel like I'm forgetting an obvious one. Uh, that fifth one's hard to come by, but there's a
Yeah.
bunch of them. It's a lot easier to name those.
Yeah. I'd say, the same ones you said. And then I'd probably put Hugh Freeze on there with Auburn.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they have a bunch of NIL money.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh,
and they're not,
Lane Kiffin is another one who's done really good
Lane Kiffin, yeah,
before NIL.
with Ole Miss, yeah, he's done a good job. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of coaches this year that are already on the hot seat, and we're
Yep.
week 6.
Yeah.
Um, so it'll be interesting to see, if some of these teams add another loss, what these schools do,
Yep.
if they make a change or not.
I
But
agree with you.
we'll see. Um,
That's interesting.
Yeah, but like you said, there's only a couple coaches that have been great before NIL and are good after.
Yep.
Um,
Great.
a
There.
lot of them are new coaches though.
Yep.
Um, like you think of Marcus Freeman and taking Notre Dame to the championship last year.
Right.
Ryan Day, Ohio State,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah. He's been good.
won a national championship last year. But that's the thing though. That's another thing we haven't talked about. If you get into the college football playoff now, you're not going to see an undefeated team win the championship. It's going
Right.
to be very unlikely. Like Ohio State was 12-2 last year and won the championship.
Yep.
So the days of an undefeated champion are way gone.
Okay.
Um,
Who, if Nick Saban stays at Alabama
yeah,
and is still the head coach right now, you think he does well
I
in
think
NIL?
maybe last year I don't think we lose 4 games. Maybe we lose 2.
Okay.
But I think he struggles more. Like I think there's a lot more closer games because he's still trying to get acquainted to the depth that he used to have, being the backups being 4 stars, 5 stars,
Being a powerhouse.
leaving and going and starting somewhere else kind of evens the playing field.
Yeah.
But I think after a couple years he'd get control of it. That's enough ranting about that. We'll get to our last 2 games. The next game is South Carolina 3-2 on the road at number 11 LSU with a record of 4-1. That's also a night game. LSU's favored by 9.5 points, which is kind of surprising to me because LSU just hasn't looked that great this year, but neither is South Carolina. So I think this is probably going to be an ugly looking game, like a game you're not going to want to watch. I
Yep.
don't. You're going to want to watch either our next game we're about to talk about or Florida Texas A&M. But that being said, it's a night game at Death Valley. It's going to be hard to win. LSU, I think, will win this game. They should win.
Sandstorm.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's going to be high scoring because both of
No.
these defenses are pretty good and these offenses aren't that good. So I think it's going to be 20-10 LSU.
I've got 28-17 LSU.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you.
yeah. Wouldn't want to watch that game. I'd rather watch this next game we're about to talk about, which is our game of the week.
Yep.
The 10th ranked Georgia Bulldogs with the record of 1 on the road against the Auburn Tigers with a record of 3-2. That's the ABC night game. That's where Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler are going to be on the call. I don't think Auburn's going to be able to compete with Georgia just because they haven't looked that great. Their defense may be able to keep them in the game, but their offense, I mean, if they're giving up 10 sacks one week and 7 sacks the next, Kirby's going to have this defense hungry for sacks.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that may make this game close for a while is it's going to be at Auburn, at Jordan Hare. There's always some like voodoo that goes on there where they win games they shouldn't. It's hard to win there at night, but I think Georgia ends up, pulling out the victory. I think it's going to be 24-13 Georgia. I don't think it's going to be very high scoring at all. I think it's going to be a defensive battle, but I think Georgia will get the job done. What about you, Landon?
It seems like every time the Dogs go to Auburn, it's a competitive game.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm looking here. And in 2023, it was 27-20.
Hmm.
2021, it was 34-10. That's not very close.
No.
2019, it was 21-14. So it's going to be a close football game.
Yeah.
It's a big rivalry game. That stadium is going to be going crazy.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with what you said about how Auburn's offense is not really that great. But on the other hand, I mean, Georgia's offense is not really that great. I mean, they're good, but they're
Hmm.
not great. So I think this is a very, very defensive game uh,
Yeah.
on both sides of the football. I think Auburn's defense does keep them in this football game. And I think I'm going to go Georgia, but it very well could go in Auburn's favor. They haven't
Hmm.
beat anybody good yet this year.
Yeah.
So I am going to go with the Dogs, 24-21.
Yeah. And I think if you're Georgia, you do not want this game to be close going into the fourth quarter.
You do not.
If this game is either tied up or you're down going into the fourth quarter or you're only up by 3, you're in trouble. I
I
feel
agree.
because that crowd's going to be even more pumped up. They're going to be super into it. So you want to have a comfortable at least a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter if you're Georgia.
I agree.
Should be a good game. We'll be watching that one. Probably be watching the Florida Texas A&M game as well. Um, that covers the SEC for this week. But I do want to mention this one other game we got, uh,
Mhm.
which is where College Game Day is going to be.
Mhm.
3:30. You have number 7 Indiana going on the road to number 3 Oregon.
What did
Both
Indiana, what did Indiana do? Got a new
with
head coach, young guy.
Kurt
Got,
Signetti. No, Kurt Signetti's older.
oh, he is an old guy.
Yeah,
He's
he's
new.
older. He's
He's
new. Yeah, yeah. He came from James Franklin or James Madison, I believe.
yeah,
James.
yeah.
Uh, he's also part of that Saban coaching tree. Uh,
No, dude.
so
What?
that's two Saban coaching tree going against each other with Dan Lanning in Oregon and Kurt Signetti in Indiana. Um, Indiana had a blowout win against ranked, what was it, Illinois.
Uh-huh.
They whooped them. It was like 56 to something, like 56-14 or something like that, which was
Wow.
surprising. But Oregon went to Penn State and beat them at night.
They
Uh,
did. Look very good too.
yeah, this is a home game for Oregon. I expect them to win, but I think it can be close. Oregon's favored by a touchdown. Uh,
Big spread.
yeah, that's a big spread for a ranked, a top 10 matchup.
Hmm.
I think Oregon will handle business, especially being at home. Dan Lanning don't really lose a ton of big games. So I think Oregon will end up winning 31-20. I think it'll be more than a touchdown.
Um, I'm right there with you. I don't really know much about Indiana at all. I haven't really covered them much at all this year, but
Yeah.
uh, I've got Oregon winning 35-28.
Yeah.
I think it is a touchdown game, but
Hmm.
I think it's all these kind of Big 12 games, Big 10 games. What is it? Big 12,
I think this is Big Ten.
Big 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. All these games are kind of always high scoring a little bit. These
Hmm.
teams don't really. I'm sure they do focus on defense, but the SEC is more of the defensive powerhouse of the conference than the Big Ten is.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with a little bit more high scoring game, 35-28.
Yeah. No, and I can see it being like that as well. So Landon, before we go, I want to ask you, give me your top 5 head coaches right now
In college football,
in college football.
Mark Stoops.
He's probably bottom 5. But
Yeah, he's probably the worst. Um, I'm gonna go. You're gonna have to help me with some names here.
all right. You want me to give you mine first and then you can see who I say?
No, no, I want to do mine because
All right.
you know more coaches' names than
All
I do.
right.
My number one is gonna be the guy at Ohio State.
Ryan Day.
Yeah, that's my number one guy. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
My number two, coaching wise, is gonna have to be Kirby Smart. I mean that
Yeah. Kirby.
he's pretty good coach.
Yeah.
My number three, Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
He's he's pretty good. Number 4. Uh,
Gets tough, huh?
it does get tough. I'm gonna go with Alabama's guy.
Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I know people hate on him. He's had his struggles, but it's hard to come in a program like that and
yeah,
sustain what someone else has already built up to be a powerhouse.
hmm
Kind of the
yeah,
same situation Mark Pope is in at Kentucky. But anyways,
yeah.
uh, my number 5. This might get a lot of people stirred up. I'm gonna go with Josh Heupel
Josh Heupel at Tennessee.
at
That's
Tennessee.
that's not a horrible pick because he did lead them to the playoffs last year.
And you got to think what they were before he
Yeah,
came.
yeah,
Program was destroyed,
hmm
destroyed,
yeah,
and that he has fired the fan base back up.
hmm
Couple of discipline issues, like we've already mentioned in a couple episodes back, but
yeah,
other than that, I mean, Kirby Smart's players. I mean, they get DUIs every other week. So I mean,
yeah,
it seems like every good coach has
yeah,
some discipline issues in the team. But I'm gonna go with Heupel, number 5.
yeah. No,
What's yours?
that's a pretty good list. I think I'm about the same as you. Um, but I think I'm going to switch. I think as much as I hate to say it, Kirby Smart's still number one. He's the best coach in college football right now.
He's good.
He was great before the NIL, turned Georgia around when Mark Rick left, and they're still good now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
finally brought some titles to Georgia. He's number one. Ryan Day's number 2. What he's done at Ohio State, winning a championship last year. He's a great recruiter. Always seemed to have a good wide receiver every year. Um, my third is I'm going to put Dan Lanning in there at Oregon.
Okay.
He's done a great job, turning that program around. They're always going to be top 5. They're always going to be good as long as he's there. Um, Number 4, I'm gonna go Lane Kiffin, like you said.
Kiffin.
Ole Miss is always solid. Um, they're not bad, and he's a good recruiter over there at Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, is a little tricky. I was gonna say Marcus Freeman of Notre Dame, but they've
Yeah.
already lost. They lost 2 games to start the year this year,
Mm-hmm.
and those were probably their 2 hardest games. You had to at least win one of those, and they lost both.
Right.
Um, I'd say as of right now, I'd probably either say Mario Cristobal at Miami,
Okay.
because of what he's done. Last year I know they didn't make playoffs, but they were top 5 with Cam Ward. Um,
Right.
this year he goes out and gets Carson Beck. They have a good
Great
recruiting
choice.
class. They're 5-0. They're ranked number 2 in the nation. They've looked good. But I'd say right now it's a toss up between him and this other guy. Some people may not like it, but Brett Venables at Oklahoma.
Yeah. Boomer.
Yeah, I mean he's brought them back to some relevancy. Um, this year, they're undefeated, and a Brett Venables team is always going to be a great defensive team.
Yep.
But if he can find the right offensive coordinator, that team can be dangerous. And right now, they're playing like they are.
I agree.
Uh, outside of that, I think DeBoer's done an okay job at Alabama. He's finally getting his players. The loss to Florida State was unexcusable, but you make up for it. You win at Georgia. But we'll see how this year finishes out for him. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's my top 5. But a sneaky guy I have coming that could make it maybe by the end of this year is Brent Key at Georgia Tech.
Okay. Okay. You're mixing the pot up a little bit there. What's that
Key,
dude's name?
Brent Key.
Okay, Brent Key. I'll have to
He's
remember that.
also part of the Saban coaching tree.
Yeah.
Uh, but they're 5-0 this year. They're ranked 13th right now. Last year they weren't bad.
They still haven't lost.
No, they haven't lost. They beat Clemson. They beat Dabo. For the first time in like 7 years. Last year they beat Miami, so we'll see if they can beat them this year. But no, last year, they competed with Georgia. They went to all those overtimes last game. They had a better year last year, and now this year they returned a bunch of people and they're 5-0. And they're looking to get to an ACC championship. So they're on the come up, but we shall see. So
That'll be interesting to find out for sure.
yeah. But that's all we got for college football. Should be a good weekend of it.
should be a good weekend of college and high school football.
Yep.
Hopefully our teams will do a little bit better than they did last week.
Yeah.
Hopefully our predictions are a little bit better than they were last week.
Yeah.
But overall, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Locked In Sports. As always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to this video, to this page on YouTube. And always remember, what do we do, Jordan?
Stay locked.
Stay locked, youngins, grandmas, grandpas, everybody watching.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one next week.
Yep.